ANTICHESS Endgames Chapter 13 Rook and Pawn vs King Part 2. Last time we learned how to win this one with the king in opposition. But what if the rook can prohibit that? Here, if the rook wasn't there, it's clear. The king has all the time in the world to give itself up to the pawn, as any king should. But if there's a rook on d1, it can function as a bridge towards the pawn, and the king has to capture both pieces. Another strategy black can and should employ is keeping the closest safe distance and walking towards the rook. On time, it can approach the rook's line of sight, as the pawn is in Zugzwang and every promotion loses immediately. Even if the rook gives itself up here, the best white can promote to is a king or a bishop to secure a draw. What white can and should do, however, is to move the rook aside. The king then wants to stop promotion to either rook or bishop, as we have learned in chapters 10 and 11 that those endgames are won for white. The only square to achieve this is d5. The other promotions are also losing, or at least a draw, so white has to make a waiting move with the rook, to force the Zugzwang king to give up d5. But where can it go? These squares let us safely promote to a bishop and win. Those squares, and we get ourselves a second rook and win. The remaining two squares, however, force it to capture our pawn, and the win is straightforward. Next time, we look at the most intricate version of this endgame. Stay tuned for part 3. For opening training, standard and other variants, check out the free app Prep Tile.